Locked on Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is going on, guys? We got a special episode of Locked On Wizards today. D and Ed are joined by our special guest, Wizards NBA radio host, play-by-play announcer, Dave Johnson, #radio party. Thank you for joining us, Dave. How you doing today?
Well, I'm always looking for a radio party, and I appreciate being able to join you guys because, again, as I always say, the best part of what we do, and I'm sure you agree, is the connection and the people you meet. And, yeah, we have some fun with wins, and, yeah, we not so fun with the losses, but we get through together, and that's the bottom line. And we're having a fun season. This is a fun team, and it's a fun season. And to be able to say it's a fun season with all we're still dealing with, it says a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Just the team going through the COVID protocols. There's so many guys out. I know Howard Nettles coming back against the Rockets, so they're getting 1 point guard back. But we do got some questions for you, Dave. So, Ed, let's get right into it.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask you, what was your favorite team to call, and what's one game? I know you've called many games, but if there's one or two games that you had to bring out, what was your most memorable game to call?
Wow,
fun game.
Right out of the gate, he hits me with the memory test. Which I tell you, you always go with your gut reaction, and certainly a favorite moment has to be Gilbert Arenas' shot in Chicago. Didn't win the series, but brought the series back to DC. And we won that series, and I think it's important to understand the context that we were just on the rise after some years of struggle. So that was just an important moment. I still remember, after that game being in Chicago and my phone blowing up. I think it was a BlackBerry. It was so long ago that back in 2004. And the next morning, I'm on. ESPN had I forget what the name of the show was. They had me go to a studio in DC and talk about the shot. It was just such a feel-good moment. And look, that era of basketball, and that was a fun bunch. Antoine Jameson, one of the most professional guys that I've ever dealt with in my life. Caron Butler, just wonderful. And then, another moment clearly is John Wall hitting that jumper against the Boston Celtics and standing on the scorer's table. And I'm trying to remember now because I used it in my call at the time, but I think the Capitals had been eliminated either earlier that week or lost in the playoff. Anyway, it was a tough week for DC sports, and that was just a feel-good moment in so many ways. So there's been a few games over 25 years of doing this, but those are two that stand out for various reasons. And that's just gut reaction. I didn't know that question was coming, so bam, those were two memories that popped out.
Definitely, yeah. You got to love the John Wall standing on the stands and Gilbert Arenas, hibachi, walk off, turning around, hitting game winners.
Yeah, definitely. Like when I was coming up, I was born in 97, so I was catching when I really started getting into it. Gilbert Arenas was really that guy. I remember the game winner against the Jazz where he turned around, had his hands up in the air. I mean, a lot of memories, but John Wall definitely, I would say, the number one. That game winner against Boston.
Yeah, and it's and that's the thing about you go through periods, and it's a tough league. There are no easy games. There's only 450 players. There's billions of people on the planet, and we've got the 450 best basketball players in the NBA, and then it's predicated on health. And unfortunately, John Wall gave us a lot of great memories, and that period of time this past decade, gave so much to the franchise and community. Unfortunately, the reality of this business, if you can't be on the court, you're not helping the team a lot, and that's the harsh reality. So we have those memories, and we move on, and as I said, we're in a good place right now.
Yeah, definitely. The injuries, gotta hate the injuries, man. Gotta hate the injuries. But last night, the Wizards finally got their revenge against the Charlotte Hornets. They lost the previous two games to them. The second quarter was looking kind of scary, but the Wizards fought back, and Kyle Kuzma, him in the fourth quarter has been amazing. what were some of your main takeaways from that Hornets game, Dave?
Well, I think the beauty of we've had two tremendous basketball games back to back, the Hornets and the Chicago Bulls, and the Bulls was the first loss this year, 3 points or less. Game decided by 3 points or less. The Wizards. So last night would count as 3 points or less. So the Wizards are 7-1 on the season in games 3 points or less. Think about that. If you're a Wizards fan, how many years have you watched the team compete, but then get in those critical moments and critical games, and you go home with that punch in the gut type feeling? Instead, this year, it's almost an embarrassment of riches. You think of 8 close games right there, and the Wizards, won 7 of them. The Wizards were not leading after the third quarter last night, so that doesn't apply. But the Wizards are something like 17 of their wins, they've had the lead after the third quarter. So they've been in a position where they close out games. And what's so exciting about this team is Kyle Kuzma and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, they've been in championship series. What's the big deal about regular season game number 40? What's the big deal? And see, there is something to that championship DNA or experience. So, my takeaway from the win over the Hornets is this is a team missing 6 point guards, if you count Tremont Waters, who was just acquired, and Brad Wanamaker, who each only played one game, is missing 6 point guards and still is able to put up 124 points on Monday night and 120 points on Saturday. And Bradley Beal does 17 assists one night. He had 8 assists last night. Deni Avdija had 8 assists. Tommy Shepard, if you look around, has done a wonderful job of constructing this team. There's shooters everywhere, and that's the great irony of this season. Imagine what the Wizards' record would be if they were just shooting the league average from 3-point distance. That's the thing that doesn't make sense to this moment, why they're not a better 3-point shooting team, because they've got some shooters.
Yeah, I would say the 3-point shooting is the main thing right now. If the Wizards' 3-point shooting improves, they can really stack up some wins. I know, you got Corey Kispert, Davis Bertans, who in recent games has looked like he's kind of returning to form. He's been shooting the ball better the last couple of games. Corey Kispert and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope when he's hot. Bradley Beal, you hope the 3-point shooting continues to improve as the season goes on. That 3-point shooting, we've talked about it a lot, me and Ed, but I would say that's my main thing offensively for them is that 3-point shooting. If they can get that down, they got a chance. The Eastern Conference is really close. So if they can just get on a little streak and that offense can get hot from 3, I say look out.
Yeah, and that, again, that's not to be misunderstood. I know you're not saying the same thing. You don't rely on the threes,
right.
But the point is that there's been so many times, a big momentum play, a defensive stop, they get out in transition, open 3, and it's missed. And those are momentum killers, and they're by people that typically make those shots. So I think, that's got to get better. But the bottom line is this team is a better defensive team. Yeah, it's had some, ebbs and flows, or had a brief period of time where it took a tailspin, quite frankly. But as I said at the start of December, before the Omicron, even I knew how to spell it, before I knew that was going to be such an issue, I looked at the schedule with all those road games, and I thought, all right, if they can get out of this month at 500 and then get into January with 11 home games, and again, it's not a birthright that you win at home, but it's just the way it works in the NBA. I thought they'll be in good shape. And so they got out of December 18 and 17. They've still yet to be below 500, and long may that continue. And obviously that's what adds the challenge of the Rockets game coming up because, oh, by the way, the Bulls are up on the schedule again. I'm not seeing this through Wizards colored glasses. There's just a lot to be excited about this team. And that's the emphasis, the team. And even guys like Corey Kispert, who's not shooting from 3-point distance like he can, but he's still contributing. And he's a complete basketball player. The cuts he makes, that's just smart basketball IQ. Okay, we're gonna run off the 3-point line. I'm gonna drive and draw contact, which is a skill in of itself that Deni Avdija has. So we're seeing there's an old saying, don't let a good crisis go to waste. And certainly this last couple of weeks with, all the COVID issues and et cetera, you have to call it a bit of a crisis. I mean, when you're missing 6 point guards, that's bananas. I've never even heard of that kind of situation. And yet, you're able to persevere and play the way they are. It's almost like, I think, in a strange way, this period of time will end up being a positive, because I think Wes Unseld Jr. is learning something about the players he has.
Yeah,
I definitely agree with you on that. That brings me to my question too, because it's forced Kyle Kuzma to really step up with other guys. Dinwiddie not being there, Trez not being there. He's being more aggressive. And I just wanted to ask you, do you think the Wizards have found a second option? Because, me and Deolante have asked about that. We already know Bradley Beal's our first option, but Dinwiddie hasn't really been consistent, scoring here and there. Sometimes it's Trez is the second option. Sometimes it can be Neto. Sometimes it can be Kuz. But who do you think Kyle Kuzma has emerged as that consistent second scoring option over the past few games? And then when guys come back, do you think that he can keep up this 35 points, 28 points here and there type of games?
Yeah, no, I think that again, that's what I'm saying. Don't let a good crisis go to waste. He was kind of forced into being more aggressive, but that doesn't mean, and it's a great question, and it was asked last night in post game. That doesn't mean, all right, when all these players come back, all right, Kyle, you just go sit in that corner and wait for your corner three and don't do anything else. I think what we're seeing is the NBA is about fit and opportunity. And that's why you have to understand, and I know you guys do, that's why that quick start kind of, everybody thought, wow, they just add water and this team is going to win 70 games or whatever. And, that's not real in the NBA. But when you've got, 5 guys on the floor, a 24-second clock, and oh, by the way, the best defenders in basketball in the world are going against you, it's not that easy to, you look out on paper, but they've got to get in a rhythm together. It's why, the curious stat, I think the Wizards are, what is it now? They're 4-0 when Spencer Dinwiddie just plays and not Bradley Beal. And so, but that's not to say, oh, we're a better team if they don't play together. No, that's not the plan. And it's not because they don't know how to coexist, but there has to be that rhythm. And it's even like with Kyle Kuzma, because you can't have 5 guys freelancing on defense or offense. And so that's where suddenly Kyle Kuzma steps up and realizes, all right, I can do more. And he's admitted he's coming from a situation where there's that guy LeBron James out in LA where you got to figure out how you can impact the game. And he did so with the Lakers more with rebounding. But here's a guy who's 6'10", for goodness sakes, which you almost don't realize that because of all the skills he has. But he creates a mismatch every time he's on the floor. And so I think what we've been seeing the past, 4 games is that when the Wizards get that stop and get that rebound and are able to get in transition, who's going to stop him? He's going to be able. He's been able to glide around everyone. And oh, by the way, he can hit the 3-point shot too. And 14 rebounds last night. So he's not just getting his nails done when on off plays. He's getting rebounds as well. So I think that's what I've been telling people even during the losing period of time is that we're sitting here 19-18 as we have this conversation, and we've not seen the team at its best yet. We've not seen the whole package unwrapped. We still haven't seen Thomas Bryant. We still haven't seen Rui Hachimura. But you try to get into a rhythm, and the next thing you know, you're missing half your team, but I think what it's taught them is if they play the basketball the way they know how to play, the team basketball, that great ball movement that we're seeing that's so fun to watch, and then use defense as an anchor, you can win under any circumstances. And then it just get this team healthy turn of the year, and let's get rid of this Omicron, and let's just be healthy and play basketball and look out. I think this team can succeed. And I say that, and that's high praise by saying that, because this is a tough Eastern Conference. Mm-hmm. It's just like the other night, beating the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's a good team. The Bulls, It's amazing. The Bulls were not at full strength the other night. And again, neither were the Wizards. But when you think about it, that game against the Bulls, the Wizards were outscored 51-18 from the 3-point line. 51-18. There's no way that should be a 1-point game. But that shows the resilience of this team. When you have, I can't even do the math, a plus 33 advantage in 3 points, it should be close the gym, let's get out of here. Instead, the Wizards, DeMar DeRozan, incredible shot, and I still can't get over that away from getting that night. And again, the nutty thing about that is on Friday and Saturday, when he had those buzzer beaters, you guys probably know this. How many shots from 3 DeRozan took?
Probably 2.
2.
Yeah.
The one that won it against the Wizards and the one that won against the Pacers. So, anyway.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I tweeted after the Wizards beat the Hornets. I said the Wizards should be on a 3-game winning streak right now. But, I mean, they don't have a chance to get their revenge. But, Dave, we definitely have a couple more questions for you. But before we get to that, we do have to get to a message from our friends over at Truebill. Do you really need all those streaming services now that you're back in the office? The pandemic almost required us to have 12 different streaming services, but now that you're back in the office and you've watched every show available, what is the point of spending hundreds a month on streaming services you don't even use? Truebill is the new app that helps you identify and stop paying for subscriptions you don't need, want, or simply forgot about. On average, people save up to $720 a year with Truebill because companies make subscriptions hard to cancel. Truebill makes it incredibly simple. Just link your accounts and Truebill will cancel your unwanted subscriptions in one tap. And your Truebill concierge is there when you need them to cancel unwanted subscriptions so you don't have to. Like Matthew B., who says, in a matter of seconds, I saved $660 for the year on my DirecTV bill, saved $120 for the year on my Sirius XM bill, saved $840 a year on car insurance. Don't fall for subscription scams. Start canceling today at Truebill.com/LockedOnNBA. Once again, guys, I want to thank you all for making Locked On Wizards your first listen each and every day. Now, for your next listen, Locked On Now. They give you recaps of every NBA game with analysis from our local experts. Listen to Locked On Now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or watch it on the Locked On NBA YouTube channel. So, Dave, I want to get into Rui Hachimura. I mean, the fans have been dying to see him. I know they were getting close. And then I believe it was when the Wizards were about to play Miami, he went on the COVID list and COVID protocols, and it was tough. But I know Wes Unseld Jr. said, or Tommy Shepard, I believe Tommy Shepard said in an interview that he was ready to go before he got put on the COVID protocols list. So in your opinion, how do you see him fitting into the rotation? Do you see him starting? I mean, what's your take on that?
Well, 2 things. I got to get that Truebill app because that may be the biggest thing that's unraveling this country. You don't know what you're subscribed to and you sign up for and you realize you get this on a streaming and it comes with your cable or vice versa. So I got to get that Truebill app. That's the bottom line because these things are killing us. Phones. It's so easy to subscribe to everything, and the next thing you know, I'm working 3 jobs to pay for all my subscriptions. So I got to get Truebill. And that's an easier question to answer because look, Rui Hachimura, and we have our program Wizards Radio 24/7. We'll play some classic games, and my partner Brian Albin does a wonderful pregame as I do a little cross plug here that begins at 5:00 on the Wizards app tomorrow or before the Rockets game. And you play some classic moments, and he's involved in them. I mean, he's come a long way in a short period of time. So. It's I know it's a cliche. It's a nice problem to have. And then Thomas Bryant comes back, and then is Thomas Bryant then going to be more of a power forward because you've got the 2-headed center with Montrezl Harrell and Daniel Gafford. And knock wood, it continues to be a problem, and it's not you're forced into using certain guys because of health because we've been down that road too often, but. I think it's from all I've heard, just like you've heard, that Rui is ready to go. It'll be interesting to see how they handle the ramp up period because the NBA, you can train your guts out and this and that, and you can practice. Ain't nothing like a real game in the NBA, as you guys know. And so this is going to be January now. It is January now, for goodness sakes. He is jumping on a 180-mile-an-hour train. And so I think that's going to be the biggest challenge. But I think, look, he's a smart guy, and he'll figure it out. Now, how he gets used, who he starts, does he start? And that's the other thing, that especially on this team, but in general, who cares who starts? Because the NBA is all about matchups and time and moment, and players that start may not finish the game. It's about who producing. So, it's nice to get your name introduced to the crowd at the start of a game. But, I think especially with this team, and that was the beauty of what was happening this past summer with the trades, is suddenly we had players and options. Whereas before we kind of had Bradley and Russell, which is not a bad combination, but then you're kind of hitting and hoping. Well, even missing guys last night, at the end of the game, Bradley Beal doesn't have to take the final shot because he still has options out there, and he hasn't all season, quite frankly. So that's it's gonna continue to be a fun team, as I said, to unwrap. It's a present we haven't totally unwrapped yet, and Rui is, he's not just a 13th guy coming back off an injured list. He's a starter. He's been starting in the NBA.
Yeah, definitely. I think Rui Hachimura coming back, the Wizards could definitely use him. I mean, I've been ready to see him. I've definitely been ready to see him. I think he can help, that mid-range game that he possesses, get into the basket. Last season we had the dunk on Anthony Davis that on national TV, ESPN. I mean, that was big. I miss seeing those type of plays. Man, you took a fit in the rotation. I think he can fit right in. You can start him off slow, maybe bring him off the bench, etc. I mean, man. And then you got Thomas Bryant, who you brought up as well, coming in. I think he can help. I mean, when you have games where Daniel Gafford may get in foul trouble, or the Wizards may need some spacing,
right,
like against the Bulls, he had Anthony Gill out there. You can have Thomas Bryant out there, who's a good three-point shooter. So the reinforcements are coming. The reinforcements are definitely coming. I mean, Ed, do you have any thoughts? I know you got the next question. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for Rui. Rui's about 6'9", almost 6'10" as well. So to see him and Kuz out there, two guys with long wingspan, they can be nasty defensively and offensively. Like you said, Anthony Davis dunk, he dunked on Tobias Harris. He started to yell in guys' faces last year. The Sixers playoff game, he started to get hot from three. So Rui, we're definitely waiting on Rui. He's definitely going to be a big help. But I did want to talk about point guard Bradley Beal. We had 0 point guards last night other than Bradley Beal on the floor. Even Tremont Waters got called up. He went to safety protocols. I just want to get your thoughts on point guard Bradley Beal. Do you think they, when guys come back like Spencer Dinwiddie, should they keep Bradley Beal at the point guard position? And what's your thoughts on his fit with Spencer Dinwiddie? Why do you think they haven't really played well together? Like you brought up Dinwiddie when he plays, but Bradley Beal doesn't play. They're 4-0. So what are your thoughts on their chemistry so far? And do you think Dinwiddie would be a good fit to come off the bench some games?
I mean, I think, Bradley Beal is just such an unselfish player. It shows that, and again, this gets back to what we were just talking about. And this is what is so incredible. And just, again, I've been doing this 25 years, just how much the league has changed. And you guys know it too. There are no positions anymore. Everybody, you've got Deni Avdija can be a playmaker, and he's 6'9", for goodness sake. So, when Magic Johnson was a 6'8" playmaker, 150 years ago, and dinosaurs roamed the earth, that was like a rare thing. Now it's just a given. So, how that gets sorted out, I think I don't have an answer for why. And if I did, it certainly would have been solved. Why, there's been games where Spencer and Bradley have played together and Spencer's not been as productive or whatever. I think it's, talking to Wes Unseld Jr., part of it is you're getting to a new team. You're so focused as the point guard to try to make sure everybody else is involved that maybe you're not being as aggressive as you need to be. So it gets back to my theory that to develop rhythm as a team, this is a new team. That to be 19 and 18, I know to some, and I still get these tweets, I'm sure you do as well, that people, after the start, kind of disappointing. Well, it was great to have that start. And There was Wizards coach Eddie Jordan back in the day. He used that famous line when they got off to a fast start. He said, "You got to harvest your nuts." That was his famous quote, because the wins count in November as they do in April. So you get the wins where you can get them. But I think again that gives Wes Unseld Jr. options. I think though your starting backcourt you want to see thrive and work is Dinwiddie and a Bradley Beal. Because right now, when you bring Neto and Aaron Holiday off the bench, that gives a different dynamic. And it's even why, last night Deni Avdija started specifically more for defensive reasons, but Wes was hesitant to put him in the starting lineup, which was why Kyle Kuzma was in the starting line, because you still, again, it's not about who's starting. You still have to play 48 minutes, and you've got to find ways that, you're getting some pop off the bench. So the fact that we're even having this conversation is a good thing, that we're not wondering, okay, well, he can't play, and then who's going to be next? Well, Neto has been a big part of the Wizards' success, and we've missed him. Quite frankly, I don't know what your take is. Aaron Holiday has given more than I thought, based definitely. On at the trade. I didn't, he's been critical to this team's success. So, right now the Wizards, I think, and I was hearing Kyle Kuzma made this statement about why he is doing so well with the Wizards and why he loves it so much in DC. The NBA, they're all good players. They're all good players. So then it's about fit and opportunity. How do you fit and do you get the opportunity to excel in a situation? So I think the Wizards are a poster team for, this is the place you can come and you can write your own script. So I think we have a collection of players that, and this is not a negative, because by the way, they won a ring, but Kyle Kuzma and KCP are probably saying, okay, we're not in the shadow of LeBron James anymore. We can do more and have to do more. And Aaron Holiday says, you know what? I'm getting a new start. I'm going to get it. I'm going to show that I belong in this league and what I can do. And the benefactor of that is you guys have been at the arena. Fans are loving this team. Montrezl Harrell is coming in with that kind of attitude. I mean, I think he could have been elected mayor of DC, a few games ago as he revved up the crowd. So it's been a fun year. It's been a fun year and a difficult year. Difficult, everything that's going on around us, but while we enjoy basketball, it's been fun.
Yeah, Trez, he has the key to the city now. I saw Ted Leonsis was wearing his jersey, and now he has a new commercial with Greenberg and Betterment. So I don't know if you saw that yet, but yeah, Bradley Beal point guard is interesting. He had 17 assists the other game, so I kind of want to see him at point guard more. Yeah,
well, I mean, it's an option, and again, I don't use option like a goofy cliche, but you want to keep the other teams guessing. Mm-hmm. And suddenly, well, wait a minute, he's playing point, and who's doing where, and that's what happens now in the NBA. You sometimes you'll come out of a timeout and you got to reassess and figure out, well, wait a minute here, there's not a center out there, or you used to kind of had a structured flow to the game in terms of who was in and who was out, and because it was very much 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you identify positions. Now it's like, oh yeah, Bradley's actually running the point right now. But I mean, again, you've got. I mean, Kyle Kuzma can handle the ball and distribute the ball. Not that you want to put him at point, but the point I'm saying is it's just an exciting, when they play the right way, when that ball moves, look out on this offense. When it gets into trouble, like it did for a while last night, it'll stick. There was a time where they allowed the Bulls to get in the game. It doesn't stick, and that's a credit to the other team's defense. I've always said it's a wonder that anybody scores in this league, because everybody knows everybody else's plays. It is so well scouted, so well videoed. You know whether this guy goes to the left, this guy goes to the right. As my partner Glenn Consor always says, KYP, know your personnel. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows everybody. There are no secrets. And that's why actually you can't go to sleep in the NBA, just like the Wednesday night game against the Rockets. What do they got to lose? They're going to come at you with all kind of, junking up defenses and blitz you and et cetera. And it's sometimes a team that is struggling or not doing so well is the last team you want to face, because they're a bit of an unknown.
Yeah, I would definitely say that as well. Before we get to our final two questions, we do have a message, Ed, from our friends over at Built Bar.
Yep. This episode is brought to you by Built Bar. Built Bar is the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, maybe even better than a candy bar. I usually put Built Bars in the microwave or in the fridge. It makes them taste a little bit better than they normally do. Built Bar makes it easier to stick to your New Year's resolution because it tastes so good you'll want to eat it. Unlike other protein bars, which can be chalky or waxy or taste like a chemical spill. Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate. Most Built Bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. Compare that to a candy bar, which usually has around 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. There's so many flavors to choose from: coconut, almond, peanut butter brownie, raspberry, cookies and cream, salted caramel, mint brownie, and many more. In fact, Built Bar is always coming out with new limited time flavors. So check out Built.com often to see what's new. Go to Built.com, use promo code, and get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at Built.com. This episode is also brought to you by Bet Online. Bet Online has you covered for this holiday season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before as football continues its march through the College Bowl season and pro football playoffs. You can bet on the Washington football team game versus the Giants. That should be a good one. Bet Online remains your number one spot for all the sports action this season. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code LOCKEDON to receive your bonus from basketball, football, NHL, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports, so don't wait to take advantage of all the new amazing offers available. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Yes, sir. And Dave, I want to get your thoughts on Deni Avdija. I know second year defensively. I mean, he's been amazing defensively. I don't know if a lot of people seen that jump. I know he had the potential to be very good defensively because of his length and size. But what are some strengths, weaknesses you see? Do you have an NBA comparison for him? Just what are your thoughts on Deni in general?
Well, you know, I played the other night in one of our pre-games. I went back, if you remember on draft night, ESPN's analyst Mike Schmitz said that in years to come, he might be considered the steal of the draft because he was not supposed to. I'm trying to remember what we had that year, 9th overall pick, I think, or something like that. Anyway, so I can't remember 2 years ago. That this is a sign I've been doing this too long. But no, I think about the defensive assignments he's been given. I mean, you know, it's an all NBA roster and how he deals with it. Which even the other night, and we were talking to Wes Unseld Jr. about this. I mean, he was on DeMar DeRozan for a while, and some of the fouls. And again, the NBA is the best referees because we're dissecting the call slowed down. Mm-hmm. They're making the call real time, and this is where you got to give it to DeMar DeRozan, as it's as fine as as he goes to get the contact from the defender, in this case Deni Avdija, he's making it so Avdija folds a little bit at the right moment when he's going up for the shot, and that's why it's called. In other words, I mean, literally, as we looked at a replay the other night, it was because it didn't look like he touched him, but his bicep kind of lowered. And so but the fact that I'm talking about lowering biceps that break the plane and et cetera, tells you what a good defender he has become. It's become that fine where he is facing these elite scorers like a DeMar DeRozan and more than holding his own. So, what I've seen coming back this year, and also you think of all things, his rookie year, welcome to the United States, and we have a pandemic. And so all the things that were going on, I don't think we had a real sense of him last year. Mm-hmm. This year was more normal. He's stronger. He's bigger. Look, he just turned 21, but he's been playing pro ball. Now, there's no pro ball like the NBA. The EuroLeague is great, et cetera, but he's still been in a professional environment for 5 years. I think he could, in a few years, end up being the steal of the draft, not necessarily because I'm not saying he's going to develop into a superstar, but here's a guy who can make the 3-point shot. And the key is he wasn't making it last night, but when it was critical late, did he make it? He did. Mm-hmm. That tells you, he knows what time it is because the confident ones, the good ones, they don't care if they're 0 for 10. They're going to make that next shot. It's also a real skill to drive and take contact and finish, not look for contact. Sometimes you got guys that are driving and they're already looking for the foul before the other guy's exhaling. He takes the contact and is able to finish. So again, it's what excites me that we have not seen the best of so many players on this roster, and that's why you can't wait to get to the next game. And what's a Deni? I mean, he had 8 assists last night, 8 assists against the Hornets, 8 assists against a handsy, turn you over Charlotte Hornets team. That should be noted. So he's. We got winning basketball players, guys that just want to win. Kyle Kuzma is not saying, well, did I get 25 or 4? He just wants to win. And that's all Bradley Beal wants to do. He doesn't care that he's not averaging 30 points a game. He doesn't have to anymore.
Yeah, definitely. I think Deni Avdija, man, he's been incredible this season. Definitely for a second year. I mean, at times I've tweeted out, I said Denny's playing at an all NBA defensive level. The things he's done, the tasks that he's, asked of with guarding certain players. Like, you may see him on LaMelo, you may see him on DeMar, you may see him on Zach LaVine. It's tough, but he's definitely doing a tremendous job. And like you said, with the fouls, a lot of the times it's like when you're watching on TV, it's like it doesn't look like he touched him, but that's just a testament to him to show that he's playing that good of defense where you get a foul called on him and the Wizards fans are like, what are these refs looking at every single time?
Yeah, no, and you made a good point about the defense. I mean, he believes he can guard all 5 positions out there. Mm-hmm. And I know it's, we're heaping praise on so many players. It makes it sound like I'm describing an NBA championship team. We're not there yet, but that's, we haven't seen what's the final upside of a Daniel Gafford? What's the final upside of a Deni Avdija? That's why the Wizards are in the position they're in. I don't say that like in a bad way, but they're not leading the Eastern Conference because we have so many unfinished products on this team. But the encouraging thing, you believe, there's more, and part of that more is to do it on a consistent basis. That's been a challenge, quite frankly, for Daniel Gafford. And he shows that how much he can impact a game. And he's gotten better. You think about his growth. He used to get whistled for a foul, I think, taking his warm-up suit off. And now, he's staying in games. I still, love that Oklahoma City Thunder game where he has 8 blocks and 0 fouls. I mean, wow, that's getting it done. So, we are where we are because we're not there yet. Can we get there? It's exciting to think about the possibilities because gets back to what happened this summer and how Tommy Shepard reconstructed the roster. We have guys that if they play defense, then we have offensive. We've got plenty of offensive options.
Definitely, you gotta love Deni. I mean, putting up the clamps. He's growing up fast, guarding Giannis, guarding Brandon Ingram, Jimmy Butler's of the world. The calls. Only thing is, he just can't, get up in the ref's face too much. I know we challenged against DeMar DeRozan, but he's still not getting calls. But it will come. But I did want to ask you about the game, your keys to victory for the Rockets game, and you talked about so much talent. Like, do you think that Tommy Shepard will make any trades to create, I guess more opportunities for other guys? Like a little bit more balance, since there kind of is some log jams at different positions. And do you see the Wizards targeting any positions to bring in? And then also, what's your thoughts on the Rockets game for tomorrow night?
I'll start with the last one first. The Rockets game. That's a team that, look, don't turn the ball over. Don't give them a chance. Give any NBA team confidence and belief. This is you're in trouble. And so I think, a a lot of what we're dealing with right now, especially in this COVID era, is control the controllables. The Wizards are in a good space right now, the way they're playing. If they continue what they've done, quite frankly, on this whole homestand, they should win that game against the Rockets because, quite frankly, they're the better team. But that's why we're going to play the game tomorrow night, because the Wizards have to prove it on the court. And the other part is, and we've seen this, hurt the Wizards in games, continue to try to get off to a strong start. You look at games like the Cavs and the Bulls and even last night against the Hornets. There's been games where the Wizards, a great finish, nice 39-point fourth quarter, but what about the 15-point second quarter? So I think it's a mental thing tomorrow night for the Wizards is get out to a strong start and don't give the Rockets belief, because they're NBA players and you have to respect their game as well. In terms of, I've always believed the trade question is a tough one, just because, we can, in the NBA, we can dream up all kinds of scenarios, but it's about salary cap. And again, it's why the John Russell Westbrook trade was, such an amazing trade. That, it's not like Tommy Shepard at that time had a million options to trade John Wall or vice versa. And the same thing this summer. It's not like Westbrook was going to any team. So, I think as we now turn the page on a new year, and we are getting closer to when trades start to come, it sounds like I'm dancing around and not answering the question specifically. I'm just pointing out that I just don't have a feel right now who we'd want to trade or move and what we'd want to get. And that gets back to what we've talked about so much on Locked On Wizards is that we still haven't fully seen what we got right now, if you know what I'm saying. So it's sometimes you make trades based on we know this is not the right fit or opportunity. I think about, again, when did we see Troy Brown? I guess with the Bulls the other night, right?
Yeah.
You think about fit and opportunity. You think about, it seemed like every time he ran the point, he produced more for the Wizards, and he was good in that role, but he wasn't good in the role that they wanted him to be in, and it just wasn't the right fit. People will say, well, how did the Bulls let Daniel Gafford go? Well, it just wasn't the right fit. It is right here. So that's why trading right now is a hard question to answer. But I do know that Tommy Shepard, and Wes Unseld Jr. have a plan in terms of the culture, the type of players they want to play here, to be a better defensive team. And again, to be a better defensive team is it's not dramatic. Just Can you be better on 5 possessions a game than you were the year before? And I think, they're making some strides in that area. They're not perfect. They went through a tailspin, but they've also shown that's life in the NBA. These guys, Kyle Kuzma, Bradley Beal, KCP, these veterans, they know not to panic when all of a sudden you've only won 2 out of 10 games, and they come back in a strong position as we speak right here.
Definitely, and the Rockets, Garrison Matthews was great for us last year. I wish we could have kept him. We're going to be playing against him, and John Wall unfortunately won't be having a reunion in DC. He's still on the Rockets roster technically, and hopefully we beat up on them to the point where they got some guys, ready to leave the game. Kevin Porter Jr. and Christian Wood. So it can't let this be a trap game.
Yeah, no. It's again the Wizards right now are in a good space, and Kyle Kuzma, it starts on defense. Get that stop, get out. And I'm not saying we have to be in transition all the time, but if we start on defense, it helps in so many ways, and I think we've seen that in recent games.
Yeah, definitely. So hopefully they get the dub tomorrow against the Rockets, as we all three think they should. But of course, nothing's guaranteed. Everybody's a professional. Everybody gets paid. So, we'll see. I think they'll get it done. I think, I like to see some more point Bill. I really would. I've been enjoying that the last couple of games. But like I said earlier, we do get Howell Nettle back, which is lovely. Nice to see. Start getting some reinforcements. But I want to thank Dave once again. That is all we have for you guys. I want to thank you all once more for making Locked On Wizards your first listen each and every day. Now for your second listen, Locked On Bets, your daily one-stop shop for all your gambling needs. Locked On Bets, hosted by your boy Q, with expert analysis and insight from Lee Sterling. It's free and available on all platforms. So Dave Johnson, ladies and gentlemen, you can hear him on the radio calling those Wizards games. #radio party. It's a family. Yo, Dave, I know you were plugging earlier. Anything else you want to plug before we head out?
No, just listen if you can. You can listen on the Washington Wizards app. And again, I appreciate so much what you guys do, because this is what it's all about. We love this team, this basketball. I've been here all my life in this area. This is a basketball city. And I've always said if we just kiss the fans right, they're going to embrace us. And we're seeing that some of this team. But again, what you do to create the passion and the energy is so important. And again, I can't thank you enough for giving me some time as well. And you'll have to come join me on the radio sometime.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely. Yes, sir. Well, once again, guys, that's all we have for you. Thank Dave once again. And that's all, guys.
Thank you, guys. Hail to the Wizards. Peace.